right, we'll start with our first hand raised on the Zoom platform. Caller, Amy's iPhone, good morning. You'll have 1 minute for general.
Hi, we're still with the planters, and I'm seeing something right now on a channel that I watch, and he's still showing that you guys didn't remove the planters. And why don't you just prevent having the people of LA spend more money on taxes on a silly hearing where you could just remove them per the order that they didn't remove them? They're not listening. You're letting them get away with the Scientology fair gaming and safe pointing you. I don't understand why you're not getting rid of the planters, because they've been told to get rid of them. All it does take is a truck to remove them, and they're still not moved. I don't understand what's going on. You don't need to have a silly meeting. That's all. Bye.
Thank you, Speaker. Our next hand raised is caller Mona. Mona, you will have 1 minute for general public comment.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Hello, board. It's me again, Mona. Tri-weekly meeting here about the planters, but also about some CPRA information that I received the other day. Finally got my CPRAs, and ironically, the Church of Scientology, the Cult of Scientology, has been complaining to you on the backside about the protesters being in the fire lane. The protester is blocking the entrances and the exits. How ironic is that? That they are trying to bring to you incorrect information and safe point you. And in fact, it's their planners that are in the way. It is their planners that are blocking the fire lanes. And it is their problem, their issues that is making it all, and they're trying to blame it on the protesters. Just thought I'd throw that out there for you. Thank you. Now yield back my time.
All right, our next hand raised is caller Miriam. Miriam, you'll have 1 minute for general public comment.
Yes, I'm also here about the planters. There's still time to get rid of them and avoid the additional cost to have a hearing regarding it. Because also, in case you don't recall, we have told you that the pavement has been damaged by these planters / baby caskets. So it would be a great idea if your people would go and remove them, so you could also see the damages that they have made on the pavement and charge Scientology accordingly. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Speaker. Our next caller is Yvonne. Yvonne, you'll have 1 minute for general public comment.
Well, I'm going to give you a good news. I appreciate the improvements you are trying to implement on your minutes. My name is Yvonne, and I'm going to give you a summary. I'm speaking on minutes. Thank you for making some changes. Record my name in the minutes as a speaker. The next item on general comment is that the planters still exist. They have made way in one spot next to the midway fire hydrant, a spot where it might be possible for an access vehicle to unload and offload individuals. However, they made this space by scrunching together planters so that it makes other crossing points unavailable to pedestrians. And there's no assurance that they won't just remove them after a photograph is taken.
Thank you, Speaker. That's time. All right, our next hand raised is caller Audit LA. Good morning. You'll have 1 minute for general public comment.
Good morning. Yes, again, about the planner, surprise, surprise. Why are we tolerating any institution that is abusing our city services to say, you're going to have to take me to court, you're going to have to enforce it in order for them to obey federal laws, for them to also illegally put that it's a no parking zone on that street because the city can't prove, there's no proof that there's a legit no parking. Okay, also fire lane laws, everything being broken, all these laws being broken. How many building permits did they abuse with no permits? What other laws are they breaking that we don't know of? These are the ones we see. We're seeing so many laws broken outside that we can see. How many laws are being broken on the inside? Are children being harmed? Are the elderly being harmed? Like, what else is going on in the inside if they're so blatantly disregarding federal, state, and city laws and, that deal with human, the humanity issues? What else are they doing? We need to ask that.
All right, our next hand raised is Gigi's phone. Good morning, Gigi. You'll have 1 minute for general public comment.
Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, first, I would like to apologize for my language in the last meeting because it was Commissioner Mitchell's birthday, and I feel that that was disrespectful to do, especially on her birthday, and I respect her, so I apologize. Secondly, with these planners, you guys could be the heroes. There's still time to do that. What if there was a mainstream media, a very big mainstream media, working on a story currently about this? Wouldn't you want to be the heroes written in that story instead of having it go to a hearing and, just drag this on longer and longer? I would be looking at what the best public relations situation is with this. And you guys still have time to be the heroes. Thank you.
Thank you, Speaker. I see another hand raised. Sergey, do you have general public comment or comment on any of our items today?
Yes, I do. In terms of this planters that you guys are not fixing and what just Audit LA said, what is hidden behind those hotels and commercial buildings in Scientology are kids getting exposed to things they cannot consent to. I grew up in Scientology. I was exposed as a 12-year-old to ask grown men how they were masturbating. Why is that being hosted by the city of LA? You can't even change the planters and you let children be asked disgusting questions like that, pretend this is a religion. How stupid can anyone be? Do the research. Look up L. Ron Hubbard. He's not an American-bred god. L. Ron Hubbard is a convicted felon. Do your research and start opening your goddamn eyes, because all of you are literally asleep at the wheel while children get pawned off in these hotels and commercial buildings that the city of LA has given L. Ron Hubbard its own street name. So before you go, oh, we have no shred of a clue, start getting a fucking clue. Children are being abused, God damn it. Open your...
All right. President Corzine, that's the end of our hands raised for general public comment.
Thank you. With that, we'll close the general public comment portion of today's meeting and move on to the multiple agenda items public comment. The board will provide an opportunity for members of the public wishing to speak on more than one agenda item during multiple agenda item comment for up to 1 minute per item for a total of 3 minutes per meeting. This is the only time to speak on more than one agenda item. Ms. Zatorsky, do we have any hands raised for this?
Yes, we do. We'll go to the Zoom platform. Yvonne, you'll have 3 minutes for items 1, 2, and 4.
Thank you. Please record these. Remove the graffiti, yes. Concerns are that the employees of the companies are paid properly and their withholding taxes are paid, and that day laborers are paid properly and the court assigned people are paid properly. Do not allow any slave labor to slip by. This is a kind of contract that is ripe for that type of abuse. The employees should be within the residency of 5-mile buffer of the city or in the city itself, and the contractors should also be in a 5-mile radius. In the contract, there's a 2-hour demand response for extremely offensive graffiti. That's an unreasonable amount of time. You can't get a parking ticket written in that length of time. Item number 2 and 4. The presentation on the funding should include not only what the budget is and what the expenditure is, it should also include the percentage of work completed or the project complete date. You can't administer the programs that you are tasked with without complete information. And it will also aid the public and the future budgeters to know how much money is sitting in the coffers not spent. and just sitting there, never to be spent because there isn't any planning to spend it. One example of that is your forestry division, that you have budget that never gets expended. You know, when you have a household budget, you end up spending that money. When it's allocated for rent, you pay the rent. When it's allocated for repairing fire hydrants, you repair fire hydrants. You don't leave the money sitting allocated and not spent when there is a need. Thank you.
Thank you, Speaker. Our next hand raised for multiple agenda items is caller Audit LA. Caller, you'll have 3 minutes for agenda items.
Okay, yeah, so let's start with number one, graffiti, very important, because especially with the broken window syndrome, right? We can all agree, as businesses move out, the graffiti goes up and it's not a good thing, right? It's permanent. Well, I mean, not permanent that you can't paint over it, but it leaves like the permanent message. And there's other ways, like, maybe advertising or trying to get to people to there's other ways to get your message across. Like say me, I would want to get the message across, no more kids in Scientology. Now, do I need to go and get, spray paint and go paint it all over the Walgreens that shut down? I could. I mean, it would, I would love to see that, but it's not fair to the whole neighborhood. So there has to be an effort to not do that. So but there's alternatives, right? So what can I do to say no more kids in Scientology? I can have signs, right? Easy signs that can be taken down with tape, or I can, wear a T-shirt, right, and go out and say no more kids in Scientology.
To the agenda item.
I am. We're talking about graffiti and removing graffiti, and I'm talking about alternatives. Thank you for the suggestion. So I'm just trying to say, as a community, you can put out information, because there's PSAs and everything that you don't have to, do urban graffiti or whatever and deteriorating, that open window, the broken window syndrome. You don't have to do it. They don't have to put no more kids in Scientology permanently on a wall. Okay, there's other methods. So yes, please remove the graffiti and then tell people if they have a message like no more kids in Scientology, they can put it other ways. Number two, grants. Okay, now I am interested in grants. I've been saying this, with all the, all the water, all the missing water, that caused us to burn down. I've been suggesting, instead of rushing and paying all this money to make it fancy and Disney-like, because it seems like we want to put so much money into making it Disney-like rather than making it effective. Okay. And so this is where grants can come in, right? We can ask Disney, we can ask Scientology, right? You can go to them and say, hey, instead of taking all the money from people, why don't you give money, and help our water, especially since they waste so much of our water, just against protesters. Ask them to then give a grant to you to help, build. Well, no, it's a bad idea. They would want L. Ron Hubbard's name in there, but you get my point. Okay, there's ways to get grants from other places to help get the things done. Now, it's taxpayers' burden, okay, to pay for the infrastructure that these things work. But when you want to go above and beyond what the pressure that we need to do, then that's where grants come in. Federal grants, right? Ask them for money to help. How about a grant to remove these planters? I'm all for that.
All right, I see we have a few other hands raised. Caller Carla, did you have a comment on any of our agenda items today?
Yes, number one, please.
Okay, great. You'll have 1 minute for number one. Or we could take it.
Okay.
We'll take it on item number one if you're just speaking on number one. So we'll come back to you.
Okay, thank you.
It would be her preference.
If you would like to speak now, or if you would like to speak when we're on item.
Now, please. I prefer
Okay,
now.
great. You'll have 1 minute.
Yes. First of all, I'm two particular points that I'd like to say about this issue. Number one, about the beautification of the city. It's great that you are working on that. It's very important for the neighbors. It would be so easy to just remove the planters and ask
There's a graffiti
organization,
abatement program. Please
yes,
limit your comments to that.
that is connected because it has to do with beautification. And when we talk about the graffiti removal services, please take into consideration not only the company has presented the lower prices, but also that the workers who are in those companies are properly paid and they are part of a union, because we know that there are many organizations that are now paying their workers well, and then they are asking for favors to the city because they are cheaper, Scientology being one of them.
All right, I see another hand raised. Caller, take action. Did you have public comment on any of our agenda items today?
Yes, multiple.
Okay, great. You will have up to 3 minutes to comment, and please let us know which items you're commenting on when you speak. Go ahead. Speaker, you'll have up to 3 minutes for multiple agenda items.
I was just giving you time to think about all the things that are said that you should take action on.
Which
People
agenda are you speaking to?
Every single one.
Okay, restrict your comments so that we know which agenda item you're speaking to, please.
I'm not restricting. I want all of them to be heard. You're not listening to these people who call in? Because why?
This is multiple agenda item public comment. Your comments have to be limited to the items on the agenda on which you're speaking. So if you can identify in advance which agenda item you're speaking to and speak to that item, then we're here to listen. Thank you.
You're here to listen and not take action. That's what you're here to do. Call everybody out on the rules they are not following while you do not follow rules. Pay attention, everybody else is.
Mrs. Tversky, I believe we warned the speaker. She's not staying on topic, so we will have to remove her from the queue.
Great, we will remove. That is time up for not staying on topic for multiple agenda items, and that is the end of our public commenters on the Zoom platform.